21st Century Entrepreneurship with Martin Piskarik.
It's not who you are that holds you back. It's all the illusions of who you think you're not. Well, my name is Hansen, and I help conscious entrepreneurs transform how they lead and grow without the hustle and hype, using what I refer to as my illusion to integration framework, so they can finally monetize their gifts, lead with clarity, and scale with soul. So for us to increase our results and create better in our life, whatever that is, we first have to understand ourselves. And most people do not. They have no idea who they are. They think they are their voice in the head. They think they are their body, their circumstances, whatever happened in the past. But as a very wise mentor of mine said one time, if I confuse who I am with what I have, I will always have problems. I'm not my voice in my mind, I'm not my body, I'm not my past, these are all things I have. But who am I? We're a spiritual being. We live in a physical body and we have a mind that can think. And for us to create better results in our life, I have to understand my mind better. That was the issue I had when I started my journey. I emigrated from Denmark to the United States 19 years ago, and I arrived with nothing here but 2 suitcases and a deck of cards. And I was broke, I was sick, I was unhappy, nothing worked. I read the first book on personal development back then called The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, and I started understanding I'm not the voice in my head. I am not those thoughts. I can actually control them. And in a very short amount of time, I went from surviving, performing magic for tips in local restaurants and bars, to producing and performing big magic shows on cruise ships, 5-star cruise ships around the world in less than a year. Big team, 13 dancers, 5 technicians, and I wondered what the heck happened. I knew there wasn't a God up there saying, now it's Anders' turn. I knew there's something to do with my new way of thinking, but I had to understand more. So that's really what propelled me onto that journey. And here I was, an illusionist. I spent so many years deceiving people, getting them to think that what they see is real. But I was deceiving myself the most in that journey. Now I started understanding that I don't see with my eyes. I actually see through them. I see with assumptions in my mind. And those assumptions are programming. The more assumptions I have, the more illusions I have. And the more illusions I have, the harder life becomes. That's why it's hard to perform magic for children, because they don't have that many assumptions. They see straight through the magic trick. Magician, I saw how you did that trick. Bummer, let's try again. Adults, much easier. And there's a reason for it. And so I crashed with my health and entertainment back then because I was still having one illusion that many entrepreneurs can recognize. Time is money. That is the most expensive lie we've been told. Time is not money. Time is infinitely more valuable than money can ever become. But that was the association. So I thought if I run faster, if I work harder, I'm going to create better results. And of course that didn't work out, so I crashed with my health. And that had me wake up a second time, realizing that what I had done didn't work. I felt frustrated, overwhelmed. The thoughts in my head were, will this ever work? It doesn't make any sense. I was disappointed, sad. But then I realized the book that I had read back then. I started focusing more on my mind and my personal development yet again, and I decided that I was going to quit my career in entertainment and go to work with the best in the world in personal development. I didn't put a name to the person, I just said the best in the world. And in a short amount of time later, in a very serendipitous turn of events, I attracted Bob Proctor into my life. He became a good friend of mine, and that changed everything yet again. And I realized the magician that I had played, the role I had played for that many years, wasn't real. And what I could change was within inside. So I went from broke, sick, unhappy yet again, to creating a quantum leap in my life. I was ill, now I was healthy. I was buried in debt. Now I had turned my annual income into my monthly. Fast forward 7 years later, we've built a global organization. We've served 10,000 people, and we've generated a little north of $12 million in about 3-4 years. But I knew it wasn't an accident. I knew it had something to do with all of this. And the more illusions I'm committed to unraveling from my life, the more truth I find. And the more truth I find, the easier life becomes. But Martin, like we talked about, the key to life is in the mind, right? That's truly where it's at. And so we want to get started looking at those illusions. And for your listeners later, we have an assessment anyone can take that helps them understand where they fall, because there's 5 predominant illusions in our mind, and either one of us fall typically in either one of those 5 categories. So before we start looking at where we want to go, we first have to realize what's holding us back. And it's not who we are that holds us back. It's the illusions of who we think we're not that holds us back. We don't see the world with our eyes. We see through them. We see with assumptions. And if you're listening to this podcast right now, I want you to go and find Martin's YouTube channel, because I will illustrate an illusion now that shows you how you are programmed with your assumptions and how you don't see with your eyes. And once we recognize this pattern, we can really change dramatically. So Martin, this is a multi-dimensional domino brick. You see 1 dot on this side. You see 4 dots on that side. On this side, all of a sudden, there are 3, and this side, there are 6. So we'll do that one more time. We had 1 dot here, we had 4 dots here, we had 3 dots here, and we had 6 dots here. What happened? You didn't see with your eyes here. Your mind made assumptions on your behalf. You have seen domino bricks many times. You either saw 3 dots or you saw 1 dot. Your mind has never seen this pattern before. So you didn't recognize it. You didn't see it. Your mind told you either 1 or 3. Same thing on this side. You saw 6 dots or you saw 4. Your mind's never seen this pattern. Therefore, you didn't see it. Now, our mind needs closure. That's why we like happy endings in movies. We need closure. We need the story to close on a beautiful note. Otherwise, our mind isn't satisfied. Sometimes our mind will make up lies to close the loop for us, even if that means it has nothing to do with reality. Now, my job as an illusionist, as a mentor, is to help challenging those illusions. And if I've done that properly, you will see now here, you will see 3 dots on this side, and you will now see 8 dots on that side. So that's an illustration of how our minds actually plays tricks on us. We make these assumptions. And if my assumption is it's going to be hard, I'm an entrepreneur, I want to start something new, but my assumption is being an entrepreneur is hard, I will find all the evidence and all the reasons as to why it's hard. If I now prime myself with a new self-image and a new idea and a new identity that it's going to be easy, it's going to be effortless, I will attract all the resources to me at the right time, at the right moment. That's what's going to happen. So it's all based on my beliefs. People say, when I see it, I'll believe it. It's the opposite. When I start believing something, I'll start seeing it. My mind will start finding new patterns in my environment, and those opportunities start to show up. Many entrepreneurs look for opportunities, but they're everywhere. They're everywhere at all times. Why don't we see them? We're not programmed to see them. And if I want to escape a prison, first I have to recognize I'm in one. And so that's the first step. And once I recognize I'm in the mental construct that doesn't serve me, I can start changing. I remember my mentor, Bob Proctor, after I met him, I literally ran into him on a busy casino floor in Las Vegas. in the middle of thousands of people, after I had repeated in my mind for months that I was going to work with the best in the world in personal development, the person shows up right in front of me. And I asked him after, how did that happen, Bob? And he said, it couldn't have been any different, Anders. He says, luck is what happens when preparedness meets opportunity. Us entrepreneurs need to prepare, but we need to prepare in our mind and in our identity. Once we do that and we shed those mental illusions, we start seeing the truth that all opportunities are omnipresent, and I will attract to me at the right time, at the right moment, everything required to the fulfillment of my goal. There's three things we have to recognize and realize. One, we got to recognize where we are. We've got to be brutally honest with ourselves. And we're masters at lying to ourselves and masking the truth. Next year is going to be different. Next year is going to be different. No, it won't. Next year will be a repeat performance of this year if I don't get brutally honest with myself and recognizing what's holding me back. That's the first step. Then we're going to get very clear on what we want. Most people can't do that. They think they know what they want, but they really don't. They set needs goals. I remember when my mentor asked me, what do you really want? And I said, I just want to get rid of debt. And he said, debt-free still zero. That's no win. And I'm like, that's true. But that was my big focus. Rid of debt, rid of debt, rid of debt, rid of the belly, or whatever it is we want to get rid of. If I'm trying to get rid of something, I attract it. If I lose my car keys, I'll start searching for them right away. That's a subconscious thing. If I think I need to lose body weight, I will find it again. That is a cybernetic mechanism that takes place in my subjective mind. There is an automatic instrument, success or failure mechanism locked up within me. It was recognized as the biggest psychological breakthrough in the 1960s when Maxwell Maltz wrote Psycho-Cybernetics. Where am I? Where do I want to go? And then 3, find somebody who have the results you want and do exactly what they're telling you. But this process isn't easy. It's not easy being honest with yourself. It's not easy actually setting a wants goal. When Bob asked me that, and I said, I just want to get rid of debt, he took me on a mental journey. He said, that wasn't what I asked, Anders. What do you really want? He said, well, then I want to be healthy again. I want to be financially free. But I didn't believe I could do it. So I said, but I don't know how. So I can't do it. He said, that's an illusion. You don't think you can because you don't know how. That's not true. Of course you can. You just don't know how yet. That's different. The proposition is different. We can go to science and theology. Both sources tell us we have infinite potential. So of course you can do it. You just don't know how yet. But you have to have the audacity to set the goal. So I didn't believe it, but I wrote it on a goal card that I was going to turn my annual income of $40,000 into my monthly income. I went from this feels like a lie, it's totally ridiculous, to one day I was standing in the middle of it and thought, what the heck happened? It took less than a year, 11 months after I actually had the audacity to set the goal. I achieved it, but I was also working, which is the third step, with somebody who had actually done it. You see a lot of people out there, and you meet a lot of them too, Martin, in your line of work. People that are great at talking, and they just don't have the awareness yet of what it means to actually create the results. It's a lot of knowledge. Knowledge is omnipresent, but awareness is what we build up from within. It's taking new information, integrating that new information, acting on the information, changing a result. Like you've obviously done it with your incredible podcast. I mean, there's a reason why you're rated so highly as you are all over the world. And here in the US, I mean, that's not an accident. You've gotten extremely good at what you do, but it took a lot of repetitions. It's taken a lot of repetitions, a lot of hard work, a lot of dial in, a lot of focus. I mean, we're chatting about that before we started, but I admire people who's willing to lock in and actually do the work. That creates results, and that's awareness. Nobody can take that away from us. Like nobody. You can't pop a chicken back in the egg either. We can't take awareness from a person either. Once you've become aware of what it means to get into the top 1% like you have, you'll know that forever. Once a person has become aware of how to turn their annual revenue into their monthly revenue, you can't become unaware of it again. That will stay with you. We had a client that was earning 100,000 Danish kroners a month. After a year of working with her, she's now earning $1 million Danish kroners a month. She made a 10x jump in a little over a year, For some people, that's completely ridiculous. That sounds crazy, but it's not. She raised her awareness. She changed her self-image. She utilized that illusion to integration framework, and she overcame all of those assumptions that didn't serve her very well. And that's the key. When I started working with Bob Proctor, I realized he had gathered over 200 years of collective research and application in personal development. I also realized I didn't have to reinvent the wheel. It was already there. But I could add my experience in mental illusions on top of it. So Bob Proctor and I actually teamed up, and we co-created a program called The Secret to Real Magic, where we utilize illusions for every lesson to help people first understand their mind and their mind-body connection better, how to spot opportunities in any situation. We help people anchor in their goal, change their self-image, work on their income so that they can multiply that. And we're not just talking about 10-15% bump. We're talking about annual income to monthly, if that's what a person wants. But it does require a radical departure from the old identity and embracing a new one. And that's where self-image comes into the picture as part of the illusion to integration framework. That was the biggest thing that changed for me. It was 100% my emotional conception of me, what I felt I was worth. So we went from a little tiny one-bedroom apartment in Las Vegas when I started. Today, we bought our multi-million-dollar home in Miami with a sea view. That didn't happen by accident. That was because my self-image changed radically. And the external expression is just the apartment, but that's not even the key. The key is who I become in the process. And that's why we teach people healthy goal setting. And that's a goal that scares and excites us at the same time. That borderline sounds a little nuts. It's something we really want, but the old paradigm has had a tendency to reject it. That's what we want to help our clients latch onto and actually achieve through inner leadership all the way through. And that's the process. And the best news, results stick because the awareness is forever. So when I met Bob Proctor and he asked me what I really wanted, I said, I used to do magic, now I want to do what you do. And he said, magic and personal transformation, I never heard it before. Do you have time for lunch tomorrow? And I said, sure. Let me look at my busy schedule first. And of course I have time for lunch, Mr. Proctor. So we met for lunch and we actually came up with a concept where a show meets a seminar. And we've run that now for a number of years. It's called Real Magic Live. And it's a certain way of opening up the mind to new concepts. And for anyone listening, there's only 3 ways to open up the mind. It's fascination, agreement, or shock. So we rule out shock. There's fascination and agreement left. So the magic part opens up the mind to a new way of thinking. And then when we make agreement with concepts taught, now the message will stick for the recipient. And for anyone listening, these are actually very important things to remember, because we have to move people emotionally to make agreement. Sales is the transference of emotion, and we're all selling every day. Adults sell ideas to kids that it's healthy to eat, good to eat healthy. Business owners sells ideas to clients all day long. So we got to understand how the mind works, and that's what we're doing at Real Magic Live, and that's what I believe is why we won additional awards with it. And someone's goal actually manifests live on stage at Real Magic Live. So it's a 3-day event, and Bob Proctor and I co-created it, where we take people on a journey through the 3 phases of goal creation and achievement. Napoleon Hill once said that whatever the mind of man can create and believe, he can achieve. So create, believe, and achieve those 3 phases. That's how we designed the event. Imagine that you arrive at the event with no real direction, and you learn how to anchor in your dream goal, your 10x revenue, or whatever it might be. You learn how to rid yourself of those mental illusions that are not serving you any longer. Imagine building a strong self-image so you learn to actually believe that you can do it, not only that you can, that you will do it. Now you're going to attract opportunities, ideas, partners, whatever is needed, investors from that new frequency. That's the second step. And once you learn and understand how the laws of the mind works and the laws of the universe, you'll attract to you whatever is required to the fulfillment of that. And that might sound like a hokey concept, but there's a reason why when Bob was featured in The Secret, it impacted 500 million people. It resonated so deeply with a lot of people because we understand everything in this world is energy. There's nothing that isn't. And we work on frequencies. And the more I can control my thinking, my feeling state, I will also dictate what I attract on a physical plane. Some people call it coincidence. It's never a coincidence. And that's what we teach our clients at Real Magic Live, so that they become a magnet for all the opportunities that they seek. So the way we do that is through an immersive guided experience where we take our participants on a journey, but it's very practical at the same time, with a workbook, with concepts that have their roots in over 200 years of collective research in personal development and transformation, coupled with obviously entertaining segments. The event is designed by Cirque du Soleil, Celine Dion's and Britney Spears' stage designer. His name is Dirk. He's worked with some of the best in the world. Our music designer has worked with Madonna, Rihanna, Jay-Z. It's high level. We really put a lot of effort into this. And another mentor of mine who's a world champion of magic, we're the creative team behind the event. So it's designed at a world-class level, and we're excited to bring it back now in a format that has never been seen before. It's a show and a seminar in one package. So if you're a high-achieving entrepreneur, coach, consultant, any business owner in general will benefit from this. You know you're meant for more. Something keeps you holding back from that next level of achievement that you know you want. Then what I'm about to share with you will definitely change that. It's not just another lead magnet and another resource. It has actual value. Like I said before we chart the course of what we want, we first have to realize what's keeping us stuck at the present level. So the first thing I'm giving you is something I call the illusion-breaking self-assessment. It's a powerful guided assessment that helps us uncover that number one invisible belief that's been holding us back, so we can finally see what the real reason is that we haven't hit that next level yet. That's the first thing, and that can unlock that clarity and that momentum that we've been looking for. The second thing, now that we know what's holding us back, we can start building that new mind frame and ridding ourselves of the illusion. And as part of that, you get the Magic Mindset Blueprint. And it's that framework that I pulled straight from one of our programs. In fact, I pulled it from our Secret to Real Magic program that Bob Proctor and I have co-created. It's the first entire section of that program that will help you learn how to integrate your new Quantum Leap goal firmly in your mind. It will help you rewire the beliefs, the patterns, that emotional loopholes that's been sabotaging that success that we really know we deserve. And it helps you align you with your vision. So we give you the goal template so you can integrate the goal. Really effective priming techniques to help you stay in the right vibration so you'll start attracting what's in harmony with it. And then that entire module around how the mind and the body works together to create results. And all you have to do to get access to this entire package is to find me on Instagram or Facebook at @real_Hansen and just type in the keyword 21st century. That's it, 21ST century. So it's @real_Hansen on either Instagram, Facebook, and again, the keyword is the name of your wonderful podcast, 21ST century, 21st century. And that will give you access to all of it.
21st Century Entrepreneurship with Martin Piskarik.
Imagine a space where triumphs, trials, and tales of entrepreneurship come alive. Welcome to the 21st Century Entrepreneurship Podcast, a gold awarded journey hosted by Martin Piskorik, connecting with listeners in 95 countries and ranking in the top 0.5% of all podcasts. Join our exclusive community, elevate your perspective, and embark on the path to success.